Hello everyone, welcome to my favourite first watches from the months of October through to December 2025. So this is another entry in the series, of course, so it's my favourite first watches, my favourite films that I watched for the first time during the months of October through to December of last year. So the first one I want to talk about is Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. This is a fourth entry in the Hammer Dracula franchise. This was surprisingly more than anything else a really decent romance film. I really liked the romance and the chemistry between Barry Andrews as Paul and Veronica Carlson as Maria. Christopher Lee is back, of course, and as Dracula, and obviously he's an amazing Dracula, but especially in the first Hammer Dracula film. But I can't remember much from his role in this because his character does take a bit of a backseat for some reason, and it's a bit watered down, if you will. So it's a bit disappointing in that regard. But the romance was good. There was some really decent production design and atmosphere in the film, and yeah, it was invested in from start to finish, really. It was a pretty enjoyable film, and definitely, for me, the best of the sequels so far to the 1958 Hammer Dracula film, along with Prince of Darkness. They're very close. The next film is Hocus Pocus. So you're probably going to be noticing some Halloween-themed films. Obviously, this was mainly October I watched these first few films I'm talking about. And yeah, Hocus Pocus, I'd heard about for years, and yeah, it was a really nice film for the Halloween season. So it's about three witches who are accidentally brought back to the present 300 years on from when they were killed. I liked this a lot more than I thought I would, actually, and I was worried that the three witches would be, really a bit too over the top. And even though I liked, over the top performances and that from the images I'd seen and stuff like that, they did look like, I was a bit worried that they would be like just a bit too much. And at first they definitely were. Just a bit too much with their mannerisms and line deliveries and stuff, but over the course of the film they kind of dial it back just a tad and they become a lot more enjoyable. And I began to really enjoy the comedy of those characters. I always love the sort of fish out of water elements in these type of films where someone, from a completely different place or time is thrust into something completely unfamiliar to them. And yeah, it was done really well in this. Outside of them three, there are some other really great characters as well. I think all the teenagers and kids were really good in the film, and it had a lot of heart to it and just a nice coming of age 90s vibe to the film. Definitely recommend the film if you're looking for, good Halloween-y type films. And next up is Coraline. This is of course an animated film about a girl called Coraline who finds an alternate universe in her house. The animation in the film is absolutely stunning, and I love how the normal universe has a very muted colour palette and then the alternate world is really colourful, and yeah, it was amazing to look at. It's quite dark at times as well, which I thought was mostly done quite well. There's definitely some funny moments in the film and some decent characters. I did find it a tad hard going at times, personally. It wasn't as amazing for me personally as the ratings would suggest. It was more just around a, sort of 7 out of 10 film for me, but it was definitely, a solid animated film, and again, a good pick for the Halloween season. Next up, I have quite a few Woody Allen films. Over the past couple of years, I've been starting to go through some of his films. I'm going to try and rank his films at some point, but that'll be probably quite a way, way further down the line, just because there's obviously so many films. And yeah, so these are my favourites that I watched recently. I watched quite a few in the space of a short time here. The first one is Love and Death. So this is a comedy set during the Napoleonic Wars. And yeah, it was a really pleasant experience, this film. It's just a fun Woody Allen comedy. The chemistry between him and Diane Keaton is always amazing, and it's great here. It's no exception. And there were some really big scale battle scenes actually, which surprised me. The production, quality for, a comedy film, they did go definitely all out on those scenes. Yeah, there's some nice locations in the film, and there's an amazing music piece. A famous music piece. I will just put the title and the composer on the screen now before I butcher the name. But yeah, that played several times throughout the film, which I really appreciated. It definitely had some duller moments, I was saying. It was a bit hard going at times, but overall, definitely a good film and a nice watch. The next one is quite definitely an underrated one for me. Quite a long title. Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex, But Were Afraid to Ask. This was a really, really funny film. Definitely one of the most underrated Woody Allen films I've seen. It's an anthology film, so there's a bunch of different segments basically. All relating to sex, and it's very unique, it's very bizarre, and you're genuinely hilarious throughout. The Gene Wilder segment was amazing. It was hilarious. He was incredible in the film, and it's just a completely, again, really unique and bizarre segment there, so I won't give any spoilers for that at all. But yeah, no, I'd highly recommend watching it. It's one of my favourites actually I've seen of Woody Allen's filmography, and yeah, really underrated in my opinion. And the final one is A Midsummer Night's Sex Comedy. Again, I thought this was one of the best Woody Allen films I've seen so far. This might be my favourite out of these ones I saw for the first time recently. It's about a group of different couples, some of which are related to each other, who all meet up at Woody Allen's character's house, and yeah, stuff happens, things are discussed as always with Woody Allen films, and yeah, I felt a lot of stuff watching this film. Again, a very pleasant viewing experience. It was really well written, it was incredibly funny, and yeah, it had a great cast, and with really good complex characters. And I loved the location of this film. I thought it was stunning. And I love that it never goes quite the direction you think, at least for me, the film. So yeah, definitely one of my favourite Woody Allen films I've seen so far. I've liked some of these films I've watched recently a lot more than some of his most acclaimed films personally, like Annie Hall, for example. I think they're not talked about enough when it comes to his filmography. I will talk more about these films when I eventually do a ranking, but yeah, that's the best for me of the Woody Allen films I've seen for the first time in the past few months. Next up is another horror film again. It's called The Ritual. So this is a British horror film about 4 men who go to the Swedish wilderness after a really shocking opening scene. And basically, yeah, some disturbing stuff starts to unfold. This wasn't a perfect film at all. I wasn't huge on how it ended as well. And but yeah, it was definitely a solid film and really atmospheric. Some great locations, creepy and disturbing at times, and very good performances as well. Rafe Spall in particular, and Sam Troughton, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, in particular, were great in the film. So yeah, definitely a good film, recommend it. Next up is a Mike Leigh short film. It's called The Short and Curlies. So yeah, again, this was a Mike Leigh short film, and it's kind of a comedic romance between a man who constantly makes jokes. He's played by David Thewlis, and a woman who works in a pharmacy. I unfortunately cannot pronounce her name, but she's a great actress, and she's been in a couple of Mike Leigh films. And yeah, it's a very natural comedic romance. The performances are great. David Thewlis is amazing in this, and so is Alison Steadman. She's always great. Yeah, very, very unique and comedic, yet realistic characters, as is often the case with Mike Leigh films. I have some problems with this short, and the fact that it kind of feels like the start of a feature film as opposed to a fully satisfying, complete short film. But I'll go more into that when I rank all of his short films. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed this quite a bit. Next up is White Chicks. This was a really funny comedy directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans and starring Sean and Marlon Wayans. And so they play 2 black FBI agents who go undercover by disguising themselves as white women. It didn't start off well for me, really. The opening scene was pretty unfunny, but very soon after the opening scene, it starts to get funnier and funnier. It was definitely, I mean, throughout there were a couple of really unfunny moments here and there, but for the most part, I thought it was a really funny film. I thought the cast were great, particularly the Wayans brothers, as well as Terry Crews. He was amazing in this film, a really great comedic performance. I thought it could have definitely gone even further with the comedy at times, but still did enjoy the film quite a bit, and I think we need more comedy movies like this. Just, you know, simple comedy films. Luckily, it does seem like they're slowly coming back now with the Naked Gun last year, Scary Movie 6 coming out soon. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, just simple comedy films. They're necessary, I think. Yeah, so solid comedy film and just a really nice watch again. A nice comedy to just relax and watch. Next up, this was at the start of December. I think I watched this on the 1st of December. It's a Christmas animated short film called Peace on Earth. So this was a 1939 MGM Christmas animated short film. Yeah, so again, I watched this on the 1st of December, and yeah, it was a really nice Christmas short film with some definitely darker elements to it. It's basically about a post-apocalyptic world run by animals after humans wiped themselves out because of the war. And yeah, I thought it was a beautiful short film and very powerful, especially as this was released during World War II. I think it's definitely something everyone could take something from. So yeah, it was cute, it was positive in spite of the darker elements, and yeah, definitely a nice little short film. And so the next film I want to talk about is Safety Not Guaranteed. This is kind of a sci-fi romantic comedy, you could say, with kind of coming-of-age elements. Directed by Colin Trevorrow, the director of Jurassic World, of course. And it stars Mark Duplass as a man who has posted an ad claiming he is going back in time and needs a partner to go back in time with. And yeah, a group of journalists played by Aubrey Plaza, Jake Johnson and Karen Sony, hope I'm pronouncing that right, they kind of investigate this, particularly Aubrey Plaza, who's accepted by Mark Duplass's character to be his partner and makes her kind of undergo a series of training exercises. Yeah, this was a unique film. It was a bit messy at times, but definitely, I definitely thought it was a really solid film. Yeah, it was really enjoyable with some really good natural performances, and it definitely has some emotional moments throughout. And yeah, the high points of this film I did think were really, really great. Actually, I really liked how this film had a big coming of age feel that's not typical with characters who are the ages they are in the film. So yeah, I thought it had a lot of heart, and yeah, the performances were really good. Mark Duplass is definitely great in the film, and it's really cool to see. It's a completely different performance to his role in Creep, which I talked about lately. Aubrey Plaza is amazing in this as well, and so is Jake Johnson, who I don't think I've seen him in anything else, but he was really good in the film. He has a really good arc that's rarely seen with these characters in these types of films. And yeah, Karen Sony, again, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he played Dopinder in Deadpool. And And yeah, he was really good in the film as well. And yeah, definitely a unique plot that's really interesting throughout. I think it could have wrapped up a bit better in that regard. I don't think it tied a lot of loose ends, especially with some of the characters. And there was also a bit in the film around the final act, I will not spoil it, but a character was pressured into doing a certain thing. And it was just made out to be a sort of inspiring, wholesome moment. And I mean, it's subjective, everyone would take to that differently, but I wasn't big on it, and it can happen a lot in coming of age films. If you've seen the film, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, no, overall, I was really surprised by the film, and like I said, those high points are really amazing actually. So mainly in the middle act, but yeah, overall definitely a good film. Next up, this was probably one of the biggest releases, if not the biggest release of last year. It's Sinners. So I thought Sinners was a good film, definitely a good film. For the most part, I really liked it. I thought it was investing. I thought the characters were really, for the most part, really good. The performances were strong, and there was a section where it kind of, again, without spoiling it, there is a section in the film where it fully embraces, it really starts to become a vampire film. And in that portion of the film, I really did love the film. And also, mostly beautiful cinematography. I think for the most part, yeah, as I said, it does look stunning. There are some places where it kind of has a little bit of the modern film trend, where it looks a tad too dull, actually, in places. But it's only a few moments here and there, and for the most part, it looked really great. At the same time, for me, personally, some of the directions that the film went was baffling. Personally, without giving spoilers, there's a certain scene where all kinds of people come together for a certain music sequence. It sucked for me, personally. It might have been shot well, but it felt so out of tone for me. And I don't mind tonal shifts at all in films. I think they can be pulled off to great effect. And I get what they're going for. Those plot elements and themes were present throughout the film, but it was just the execution here for me that really didn't sit well with me, and it just took me out of the film completely. It came off as pretentious, trendy, and just different for the sake of getting people talking. I know a lot of people think that scene's incredible, and that's great, obviously, but for me, it wasn't. If you've seen the film, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. But yeah, it's the execution for me of that scene. And also, some of the characters made really dumb decisions, more than a lot of films I've seen, actually. And the final 15 minutes kind of threw me off a bit. It left me feeling a little bit cold, I guess. There was some powerful moments, definitely, in the final 15 minutes, but overall, it felt a little bit off. I think there was something missing compared to the rest of the film. So yeah, it sounds like I'm really negative on the film, but overall, I'm really not. I did like the film quite a bit. It definitely had some big flaws for me, you know, there were a few flaws, and those flaws were big, but like I said, it's a really solid film overall. Great cinematography, a great use of violence as well, I should add. Great performances, investing characters for sure, you know, especially from the likes of Michael B. Jordan's characters. Obviously, he plays twins similar to Tom Hardy in Legend. And yeah, Delroy Lindo, who played Delta Slim, I thought he was my favourite in the film. I thought he was an amazing character and gave a great performance as well, so definitely wanted to mention that. And yeah, definitely liked the film quite a bit, even though, you know, I thought it was definitely a good film, as I said, even if I'm not, you know, quite as big on it as a lot of people. Next up is a Laurel and Hardy short called Big Business. This is quite a famous silent short of theirs, and in this one they're Christmas tree salesmen. So yeah, this was a good one to watch over the Christmas period, and they get into an altercation with James Finlayson's character when trying to sell him a tree. Yeah, it was pretty good, some solid slapstick here, and I always love to see James Finlayson. It was a bit dragged out, this one, for me, though, I will say. It definitely dragged on the joke a bit, but it's Laurel and Hardy, so, you know, it's pretty much always funny. Definitely think their silent shorts, for the most part, are not anywhere near as good as their, you know, incredible sound shorts, but it was still a nice watch. And yeah, it was still a good, you know, it was a funny short film. A couple of Disney short films. So the first one is Toy Tinkers. This was a nice, nice simple Christmas short with Chip and Dale. They're trying to steal nuts from Donald Duck's house. Pretty simple, pleasant Disney short. It's only about 7 minutes long. And yeah, it was pretty good. A nice watch for the Christmas season. Next up is Steamboat Willie. Really glad I finally got around to watching this. I've wanted to watch it for a while. It's the first public debut of Mickey Mouse. From what I understand, there was films, a few ones before this that were produced, but this is the first one to be publicly available. This is the first one to be distributed. And yeah, it was a really nice short. I really liked the kind of slapstick humour in the film. The animation was absolutely stunning. It's still constantly replicated to this day. And yeah, just an amazing piece of history, this short as well. Definitely recommend it to anyone, actually. And finally, we have a nice Christmas Disney short film, Mickey's Christmas Carol. So this is, of course, an adaptation of A Christmas Carol. About 25 minutes, and I watched this with my mum as well, my brother and my mum. And yeah, it was really nice. It was I love the story of A Christmas Carol anyway. And so it was really cool to see a bunch of the Disney characters like Mickey Mouse, Scrooge McDuck, Donald Duck, Goofy, you know, everyone in different roles in this story. And of course, you know, beautifully animated and yeah, really nice. So I really liked this. It was a really nice adaptation of A Christmas Carol. So that's it. Quite a few films I've run down there from the past three. Well, as of making this video, it's February, but between October through December 2025. And yeah, I know it's a bit late, but I will say for anyone watching, hope everyone had an amazing Christmas and Happy New Year to you all, of course, as well. So yeah, thank you for watching.